What's up, NIO family? It's Rey-Jay back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's happening with NIO, Tesla SPY, and a couple of other tickers. I'm going to break down what's happening with the market moving forward, so you have important levels to watch for, not to mention big events coming out for the week. But let me just mention that I am not a financial planner. Make sure you take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Moomoo link. If you deposit $100, you're guaranteed 5 free stocks. If you deposit $1,000, you're guaranteed 15 in total. And the offer ends very soon, just about 3 days from now. Anyways, now let's talk about what's happening to NIO. NIO got a nice little bounce on Friday alongside the market, and we saw an attempt to break past our 20 EMA. We haven't been able to break it. We just kind of closed at it. So if we break this going into tomorrow, there's going to be even more upside coming. If not, the exact opposite would end up coming. But I'm going to break down what's very probable for NIO, what you should be watching for as time goes on. Just note that for tomorrow, there's not really much data coming out. We just have the Dallas Fed manufacturing numbers coming out and the 3-month and 6-month bill auctions at 11:30 a.m. However, do not forget that for Tuesday, we have some JOLTS job openings and job quits numbers. And then for Wednesday, we have the notorious FOMC meeting with Jerome Powell giving a very, very important speech. Whatever Jerome Powell says can have a big effect on the market, so I can't wait to see what that leads to. So be ready for what that could cause. On top of this, you want to remember that we have important earnings as well. Notably, on Tuesday through Thursday, we have AMD and Microsoft on Tuesday. Wednesday, we have Meta and ARM. And then Thursdays when we have Amazon, Apple, and Intel. Those are going to be very, very important days. Tomorrow's going to open this up with McDonald's and just a few others, very, very minor ones. And it gets very, very serious between Tuesday and Thursday. So expect some crazy volatility on those days. For NIO, I also want to mention that for NIO, we also have some new talk that's been coming out. The second-gen NIO phone is getting a lot more attention. The NIO phone, excuse me, it's getting a lot more attention. There's been a lot of talk about new research that's going to be made and a new upgrades to their different chips which are going to be used as well for this. This is also going to be very, very useful, especially because of the fact that the autonomous driving chips are also going to be a big incorporation as well moving forward. And as different companies have their own systems, this will also help NIO in a lot of different ways. So in my personal opinion, NIO is now trying to work on its chip prototypes. This is going to help them with a lot of growth and a lot more sales. And I think that this technology will be very, very useful, at least for the long term. With the new chip that's going to be likely launching very soon, this is going to be very bullish as well, especially because of its new image processing capabilities and a lot of growth that's going to come from that. Not to mention the fact that it's going to be looking at a lot more competition, at least moving forward. So very, very cool stuff. NIO is also talking about how it has its own full dominance, full domain operating system. That's going to be very, very good for its architecture and performance. And they're going to be kind of incorporating these new systems as their new operating systems. So very, very cool stuff in my personal opinion. And I'm very excited to see what other upgrades come from these chips. On top of this, there's been some talk about the NIO second gen phone. Right over here, this is getting a lot of attention as well, especially because they have quite a bit of RAM, not to mention a lot of storage. And by incorporating these systems, I think it's going to be very, very useful as well. So I can't wait to see what they tell us about this. So they have the second gen. It's an Android phone. It's starting at about $900, and this can be very useful too. So with lots of sales and a lot of audience members kind of buying those phones, that's going to be very, very cool. So with the new smart driving AI chips, it has 50 plus billion transistors, and it's going to be a very, very big improvements, at least for their growth. So this could be a very, very nice catalyst going into tomorrow. Can't wait to see what else they tell us about that. On top of this, there's also news right over here that we got about 32 million in volume, and then short volume is still kind of dipping. And don't forget that there's not really much changing here, but the price-price ratio is starting to base. We also have a tendency of seeing green about 49% of the time, so that's actually a very, very nice improvement. With that being said, what do we see for NIO moving forward? NIO has resistance at 4.43 hour 20 EMA. If this breaks, we'll be looking for 4.51 and eventually higher levels all the way up towards 4.68. If we reject here off our 20 EMA, we're going to be looking at support all the way down here towards 4.26. If that fails, we'll be looking for a move all the way down to about 4.15. So look at the structure, we're actually holding the support very, very nicely in the 4.25 area. And there's actually a lot more upside potential, in my opinion, if we break this 20 EMA. With the new chip that was unveiled, there's a good chance that the market may actually try to rebound and NIO might actually follow the trend. So I think that NIO might try to break this and make its way up towards 4.5 and eventually 4.68. So I do think a bounce is a little bit more probable, especially because historically NIO does like to bounce near this 4.25 area. So I think anything could happen depending on the reaction off our 20 EMA, but I'm favoring that it's going to try to break towards 4.51 at the very least and eventually 4.68. Another reason why I say that is because when you look at other factors such as SPY, we have a nice potential 4-hour cross in the PPO. If we break 546, we'll have to look for more upside. But when you zoom out and just look at smaller time frames like the 1-hour time frame, we have a nice bullish structure. We have a double bottom that's forming here. And we're trying to rebound. If we break this resistance from the 546s, I could be looking for move all the way up towards 550, if not 552. Got a nice close, so this is favoring upside. If we were to hypothetically lose 542, watch and see if you fill this gap. It's looking less probable. It looks more like it wants to rebound. So I'll be looking for that going into next week ahead of earnings. For Nvda, we're just tight within a range. We're getting tighter and tighter and tighter. Watch between 116 and 112. This might try to rebound towards 116 tomorrow, so we'll see if that could hold up. Bitcoin got some bullish news involving former President Trump and also other factors. And the chart's looking very bullish. This could easily start pushing up towards 68,000 plus and eventually towards the 70,000 area. This is a strong uptrend. We're actually looking quite bullish right now on our 4-hour. So I do favor a little bit more upside for Bitcoin. I think we may be getting very close to about 70,000 soon. For something else worth noting is that SPX also has this gap above. If we break above resistance, above 54.88, we could push to fill this gap. It wouldn't be surprising if that happens approaching FOMC. For Tesla, I'm indecisive. We're still in the middle on Tesla. We need to see if we could break past 225 to turn bullish. If we break 225, we'll be looking for at least 232. And if we lose 212, we'll be dipping all the way down towards the low 200s. This is favoring upside just a little bit more, looking at the inverse head and shoulders that's forming. So I'm going to be looking for a test of 225 tomorrow. We'll have to see if Tesla could break this or not. But so far, it favors upside a little bit more. For the QQQ, we have a nice looking wedge that's forming, getting tighter and tighter, but there is a nice looking potential reversal structure right here that could be forming. If we manage to break 466, I'll be looking for a push all the way up towards 468 and 470. This favors upside a bit more, so we'll have to see if that ends up breaking or not. For Aapl, Apple's also getting tighter and tighter and tighter. We'll have to see if we can break past 220. If that breaks, we turn bullish. If we lose 216, we'll turn a little bit more bearish, but this is favoring upside in my personal opinion. For others out there, just to be very, very frank with everyone, Coinbase is also trying to rebound off this inverse head and shoulders. If we manage to hold above 244, I'll be looking for a push back up into the 250s with Bitcoin. For Amazon, we're looking a little bit more bullish, but we need to break past 184. If we lose 180, we turn bearish, but this is favoring like it wants to go up to 184. Looks a little bit more bullish to me. Meta, Meta looks a little bit more bullish. We might try to push towards 478. I see a nice inverse head and shoulders, so I favor upside a little bit more. Microsoft is also trying to rebound ahead of earnings. It depends if we could base at and hold above 418 and eventually 420. If you hold above those supports, there's a good chance this is going to continue to go higher. So I'll be looking to see if we can try to break past 430 to start pushing up for these highs. There's a good chance it does that. Google as well. If we manage to break past 160, 170, I'll be looking for 172. This is not as strong as Microsoft. There's a possible inverse head and shoulders. So we'll see if this plays out. The market's looking like it wants to bounce a little bit. I'm not saying it's a big bounce, but just a small bounce. And this could be a little bit more positive for stocks like NIO, especially because they unveiled their new chips for self-driving and other pieces of technology. That is very, very bullish news, and I can't wait to see what the future holds. So we'll see how things go here. Thank you all so much for listening. Hope you guys have an absolutely spectacular day. I'll see you guys very soon on the next one. Thank you and peace out.